Yeah. Awesome. So, welcome to Enter the Stage, cinematic dialogue game performance capture. So, I'm guessing many of you are wondering who the hell is this guy. My name is Richie Nieto. I'm a team lead audio at Ubisoft Toronto. Some of the games I've worked on are Splinter Cell Blacklist, Avatar the game, Marvel Superhero Squad, Nerf and Strike, and Little Pet Shop. So yeah, you can see a trend there, pretty much. So what is this talk about? I'm talking about the dialogue pipeline for cinematics in Splinter Cell Blacklist. And basically, I'm going to try to cover the whole process from pre-production through production and post-production. And I'm going to try to explain how we did things a little bit differently this time around as compared to other games. So I would like to start by talking about different ways of recording dialogue for cinematics. And I tend to divide this into three categories. They overlap a little bit, so they're not supposed to be gospel or anything like that. But first way is essentially booth only. So we have one actor in a booth with a microphone and a script. So basically the actor is just reading the script and performing in a booth. And later, all facial and body animation are done manually by the animators at the studio. So this is very efficient in terms of speed, because you can potentially record hundreds of lines a day. So this is a tried and true method. It's been used for many, many years. It's essentially the first method to have been used. Then there's a second method that involves mocap. So this is a fairly new technology, and it involves capturing the motions or the movements of an actor in a mocap stage, and also recording, could be the same actor, it could be a different actor in a booth, and that actor is usually being recorded with a video camera, and then the animators use that as a reference to animate the facial movements. And lately, what we've been doing, and what we did on Blacklist, is performance capture. And how this is different is we're trying to capture everything at the same time. We're capturing facial performance, voice, and body movements. So the advantage of this is that basically we're getting everything in sync at the same time. So all the nuances of a performance we're capturing at exactly the same time. And this gives us a lot of realism in a performance. It's people react to it in a very visceral way. It's basically the way actors are supposed to act. There's no in-between process. So this is complex and expensive, but it translates, as I said, in a very, very natural feel and performance. So I'm going to talk a little bit about pre-production now, and some of the stuff we did for Blacklist. So I'm going to start with casting. Casting was really important to us. Because this is an action game, and we had a lot of action in the cinematics as well. So we needed actors who could perform all the physically demanding scenes, or most of them, to make everything believable. So we had a lot of scenes like fights, like we could see here, and all of the actors were prepared to perform in those scenes and do the dialogue and do all the movements, and in the end it would be really realistic for us. So second consideration for us was we used a lot of the likenesses from the actors for the characters in the game. So this was great for us in terms of dialogue performances, because we have Carlo Rota, who played Sadiq, one of the villains in the game, and they used his likeness as well. So when you see Carlo Rota, you hear Carlo Rota. So it was a great way of bringing two things that were obviously real together, and it would sell the performance a lot better. Third one was the chemistry between the main cast. And this was critical for us because we had a group of actors that were sharing the same space in many of the scenes in the cinematics in the game. And they were working for many weeks together in the same space. So we needed to make sure that they had a great chemistry between them, because the performances feed off each other, and the actors need to be in sync with each other at all times. So that was crucial for us, and thankfully that was the case with this group of actors. On the technical preparation side of things, because this was the first project for the studio, for Ubisoft Toronto, we had a lot of freedom in the way we wanted to do things. So we immediately decided to treat all the performance capture as film shoots. So we started by putting together a system, a recording system that was very similar to what a film shoot recording system would be like. So we had a multi-track recording system that could accommodate several lavalier mics and boom mics, timecode sync, and flexible outputs, so we could deliver different mixes to the director and the cameras. Something else that we were very conscious of was involving the cinematics team in the whole process, so we could get everything that everyone needed in terms of audio. So we decided that the optimal size for the audio team for this would be 3 people. So we had 2 people in charge of a boom operation, and then 1 recordist. All of us here are sound designers on the game as well. So at the beginning we started doing the shoots, but as the game progressed and we became more swamped with doing the rest of the game, we had to hire contractors for that. So part of the system, the interesting part of the system actually is that because we had to use different performance capture stages, we had to make it mobile. It had to be designed to be a mobile system. So we designed it in a way that it would fit into 3 flight cases, so we could take it pretty much anywhere between the 3 of us. And this, it became a airport security nightmare at some point, because you see 3 guys going through customs with a bunch of electronic equipment. It was a lot of equipment as well. They're going to ask questions. So in Vancouver, we spent like 1 hour going through customs, because they would just pull something out and they would go, what is this? It's a power supply. And what is this? It's another power supply. So it was kind of like that. Going into production a little bit, as I said, we designed the system to be mobile, so we could go from one stage to another. And some of the stages we used were Pinewood in Toronto. This was an interesting stage because they were shooting Total Recall in the stage next door, so we would see spaceships going out of there all over the place. Next place we went to was Animatrix in Vancouver, very nice stage. Then we went to CBC stages in Toronto, and we finally ended up at our own stages in Ubisoft Toronto. So I'm going to describe a typical performance capture shoot for you. So we have what we call a volume, which is the area where the performers are going to act, and then the performance capture cameras can see them. And like I said before, we treated it as a traditional film set. So we were always rehearsing boom mic moves in advance, following the script. And something that I need to mention is that to us, the boom mics were the primary source of sound for us. The lavaliers were just a backup. And this is different from most shoots because they tend to treat the lavaliers as primary source, and the booms just as just in case they miss something. But to us, it was really important to use the booms as primary because we feel that they sound much more natural. So let's say we have props. So we have a table in the middle of the volume, and let's say we have a workstation in the corner. Then we have the actors, and like I said, they have lavalier mics, but we need booms as well. So 2 booms. So let's say we start rolling, and one actor has 1 line, another actor has 1 line as well. Then we need to adjust. Actors have lines. Then the actor at the workstation has a line, and we need to cover the actor on the bottom. Now things are starting to get interesting. There's some movement around. Actors are starting to walk. We need to cover them. And they keep walking, and we need to cover them. And then things are really starting to get crazy right now. People are moving all over the place. And then let's say that actor back down there has a line, so we have to cover him as well. But thankfully, all this madness ends pretty soon because the director comes in and he yells cut. So we do use wild takes, meaning that sometimes in all this chaos, the actors are moving all over the place, and we get some noise from either footsteps or we get noise from Velcro in their suits. So we pull them aside and we make them repeat their line clean. But most of the time, we get pretty clean stuff from just the boom mics. So I'm going to show you what a shoot like this looks like.
You know, I was asleep. You ever hear the Geneva Convention? I got rights, you know.
Look, I'll tell you what. If you can find a payphone, I'll let you call your lawyer.
Did you get anywhere with the recon?
I'm still trying to build a workaround to grab a feed. Just give me 2 minutes. You know what? Just give me this. That's where the cash dropped into my account. It was a wire transfer.
You guys have any updates on that potential 4th location?
We're just completing the trace now. Looks like the transfer came from Mirwawa, eastern Iraq.
Grim, I'm not getting any images.
It's okay, I've got it. You can just pull Onyx satellite time from the NRO. Looks like the largest of the 4 camps we found. Heavily fortified.
Listen up. Our best bet for Coben's buyer is Marawa. I want to be on the ground an hour ago. Charlie, track the satellite feed, map every weapon, vehicle, and man in that camp. There's a kid with a cap gun I want to know about it.
Will do.
Briggs, prep a drone for Overwatch.
On it.
Grim, coordinate with Dev Crew. We're gonna have to hit the other sites when we move on Marawa.
We don't have enough time to prep, Sam.
So as you can see, it's a pretty involved scene. There's a lot of actors, there's a lot of movement, and we need to cover everything. And that was the case on a lot of the scenes for the game. So the system had to really work from the very beginning. I'm going to talk a little bit about the post-production side of things. As I mentioned before, we gave preference to the boom mics instead of the lavalier mics. We just wanted more natural sound, and sound we didn't have to process as much later on. So looking at what an initial Pro Tools sessions looks like for the dialogue, this is for a fight scene. Well, not really a fight scene, it's just Sam Fisher kicking the crap out of someone, but you can see that we have two main actors. And the boom mics have already been chosen. So all the bumps that we can see up there, they're breathing. And they're not necessarily that actor's breathing. It could be any of the two. So that was a way we made it a little bit differently. We worked a little bit differently in that we didn't really care that the lines were clean. We just cared that they sounded real and that we had no phase coherence problems. But in the end, everything has to sound believable, has to sound real. So we left all the breaths and all the small inflections in to give the character to the performance, so we wouldn't lose anything. All we did was remove background noises, remove any Velcro or any loud footsteps or anything like that, but we left everything else in. As far as processing, we did some light compression, some EQing, took out a lot of the boominess, as you can see on the linear phase EQ over there. We bumped sometimes a little bit at 4K just to make things a little bit brighter. As far as compression, we tried to not over-compress. We just wanted to keep things natural, but a little bit under control. And you can see the C4 over there in the corner. That was basically for cleaning up some of the ambient sound from the stage. But again, it wasn't anything too drastic. Then at the end of the chain, we had a little bit more compression, and we like to do 2 stages of compression so that the dialogue won't get pumped. So we had basically 2 of the same compressor with a little bit different settings in that way. And we have an ultra maximizer at the end of the chain just in case, but it rarely gets used at all. Because we could only attenuate the audio levels in the game, we mixed the audio files at around -14 dB LUFS, and they were played in the game at around -23 dB LUFS. So those were the basic levels for dialogue in the game. Then we would print the entire scene to 1 track. And this is where people get spooked out. People just say, okay, there's no separation between the actors anymore. There's breathing all over the place. One actor is into another actor's microphone. So it's very, very visceral, definitely. And this is what a film stem looks like for dialogue. And this is exactly what we wanted to do. We just wanted to make it feel like a film. What we would do next is we would take everything and just cut it up in lines. So at the beginning of each line, we would just cut, separate it, and then import it into the game. But still with all the breathing mixed in and the characters kind of stepping on each other. This was good for us because we were just playing all the dialogue from the center channel, so we had no positional, no 3D positioning issues. Everything was coming from one source, one speaker, and that allowed us to mix all the breathing in between. So this is a close-up of 2 of the files in the end, and we left an overlap of 1 frame just in case the engine drifted a little bit, so that we wouldn't end up with an empty space in between. And there's also a small fade at the beginning and at the end of each file. And finally, what we would do is take a note of each frame where each audio file started, and we made a spreadsheet with that, with all the file names, and we would give that to the scripters, so they would know exactly where to start each line of dialogue for the cinematics. So I'm going to show you the resulting clip from all of that. It's a mature game, so there's some F words, so I apologize in advance.
Coben sends his regards.
Hey, just hang on a second. Stop! Oh, you asshole. I'm MI6. Three years, deep cover, and you just fucking wasted it!
What's your activation key?
757 Bravo Victor 9, Oscar 98. For fuck's sakes, I think you broke it.
Grim, did you get that?
Got it, Sam.
Cool. So as you can hear, there's a lot of breathing and a lot of grunts, and all of that was actually on both mics. So we had to just choose which mic to use at any given point. But in the end, it just made everything feel more natural. So the mandate for us was natural sound over pristine sound. So we could have cleaned up everything and made it absolutely pristine and crystal clear. But that wasn't the intention. The intention was just to have something that sounded real and that sounded visceral and that the player could connect with. So everything was kept organic sounding instead of pristine but lifeless in the end. So obviously we did a lot of cleaning up. We took out a lot of the unnecessary noises, a lot of the stuff that we didn't want to have, but we were very meticulous about what to remove in the end. So to talk very quickly about ADR, as many of you know, ADR is automatic dialogue replacement. And actors are called in to re-record lines in the studio that didn't sound good because of technical issues, mostly. So this is a very expensive process because, again, you have to book a studio, you have to bring in all the actors again, and the performances are not as good as the originals. I mean, it takes a really, really good actor to approximate an original performance. And most games have between 30 and 40% ADR. That's kind of like the figure that I've heard. But thanks to all the preparation that we did for Blacklist, all the double mic setup, all the technical preparations, the great recording engineers, good calls for white lines, and the film style editing and mix, I'm pretty proud to say that we had 0 ADR in the game. So in conclusion, a film sound pipeline is going to give us more realism every single time. That's a given, and that's something we just re-established with this pipeline, just doing this game. But also, it's a lot more work. It's more complex. There's a lot of moving parts, more experience required because you need people who have done film sound before, and it's very time-consuming. It's a lot of details to go over. Not just for the audio team, but also for the localization team, because they have to recreate that in other languages as well. So the big question at the end is, was all the work, everything that we did, all the preparation, really worth it? That is the million-dollar question at the end of the day. Just kidding. Thank you very much. So I ran out of time, but if you have any questions, we can just move over to the wrap-up room, and I can answer anything that you want to know. Okay? Thank you very much again.